Hello, my name is Sierra Jones, and I'm going to talk about the survey methods for a qualitative survey. So, first question is, what is a survey? A qualitative survey. It's a research tool used to gather open-ended, descriptive responses from participants. It's not like your traditional survey that rely on multiple choice or numerical data. It allows for participants to express their thoughts, experiences, and emotions in their own way. So, maybe like instead of actually asking on a scale from 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with the school principal? In a qualitative survey, it would be rephrased to say, can you describe a time when you felt supported by your principal? What happened and how did it impact your trust with them? So ultimately, using a narrative type style response, qualitative surveys provide some type of insight into motivations, attitudes, and lived experience that numerical data just can't fully capture. Next, when should you use a qualitative survey? You need to use it when it's detailed. It's most useful when it's contextual responses rather than numerical data. You may want to explore perspectives, emotions, or personal experiences in some type of meaningful way. Maybe if your participants are spread out geographically, it makes it difficult to conduct in-person interviews. Maybe you want to identify emerging themes that can inform further research or intervention strategies. You can also use the tool because it allows flexibility. Participants can complete surveys at their own pace without any type of pressure. When not to use a qualitative survey, though, if you need statistical comparison, a quantitative method would be better since it deals more with numbers and statistics. If you require follow-up questions for deeper clarification, interview or focus groups might be more effective with that. And if the topic is sensitive or complex, where personal interactions may encourage richer responses. So, how do you actually use a qualitative survey in research? Uh, Step one, you want to define actually, of course, what the research purpose is. Before you even create the survey, you probably want to ask yourself, what do I want to learn? Whose experiences are most important for this study? How will I analyze and use the responses? So, for an example, if my study was about how mothers of students with disabilities built trust with school principals, I may ask a question that's detailed reflections on trust in building experiences rather than that simple yes and no response, because I really want to get out maybe some detailed information and personal stories that a survey that is a yes or no is not going to give me. The next step is to really design that survey. So you want to create a well structured, which includes open ended questions that encourage elaboration, clear and neutral wording to avoid, of course, leading participants to a specific answer, some type of follow up prompt to guide the detailed responses. And last, of course, demographic conceptual questions for deeper analysis. So, again, might not ask the question, do you trust your child's school principal? But I probably would challenge to say, can you describe a time when that child's principal made you feel confident in in their leadership? What actions contributed to that trust? Step three would be to select those participants. So, who do you even ask them that matters as much as what you ask instead of randomly sampling? Uh, and in a qualitative survey, you often use the purposive sampling, which is selecting participants based on specific criteria. So maybe like teachers who have attended professional development workshops. This would be an example for what my research is looking to do. You also would probably maybe use the snowball sampling, where you're asking participants to refer others who fit that type of study criteria, so you can kind of begin to give similar individuals in this study. So if a study of culturally responsive teachers in Algebra 2 classrooms, I'd probably target those teachers who actively incorporate students' cultural backgrounds in their math instruction already. Number four would be maybe to data collect. This is like online platforms, whether you're using like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms, or you use email surveys and paper-based questionnaires. That one's easier for those who are in person, but it's always important to give participants time and space to really reflect on those types of answers rather than asking them for quick feedback. The number five is a data analysis. So again, we get into that qualitative data and coding techniques that we've talked about in previous sections and weeks. Of course, you want to find repeated patterns and responses when that coding takes place, when identify frequent words or concepts in the text, assigning short labels to summarize responses, and of course, using participants' own words as codes to preserve authenticity. That may be like, my students engage more when my math problems reflect their real lives. That would be maybe coding under a cultural relevancy in math instruction. Some advantages and disadvantages of using qualitative surveys. Some advantages: it's effective. You can collect responses from many participants at once. It encourages honesty, so participants may feel more comfortable sharing their personal experience when responses are anonymous. It also allows for diverse perspectives. You hear from multiple voices, not just a select few. It's also cost effective in the end run because you don't really need to travel or be in person to conduct this. Some disadvantages: it limits the depth of what you're looking to maybe gather. So, unlike interviews, you can ask follow up questions in real time. Again, we run into that bias piece of it. Some participants may give socially desirable answers rather than their true feelings. And then, of course, you may have like very little responses in terms of people's writing because it makes it harder to interpret their experiences. Who can you survey in this space? Both individuals and group, depending on the study. So, like teachers, to explore their experience maybe with the culturally responsive teaching, students to understand perspective in math, anxiety, and engagement, maybe school administration to examine leadership roles and trust for building. So, those are just some examples of those that you could do when it comes to the education space. What qualitative studies could I conduct with ACE with this type of survey? I would look at, of course, culturally responsive teaching in Algebra 2 and just focus on how do Algebra 2 teachers integrate students' cultural backgrounds in their lessons. So, a survey question that I may ask is, how do you incorporate students' background in your math instructions? Very simple. What challenges do you face in making math relevant to diverse learners? Trying to find more so of themes that are about representation, engagement, and instructional challenges. When it comes to professional development and implementation, I may focus on how do teachers apply what they learn in PD sessions. So, asking the survey question to say, what does professional development experience have been most valuable? Which one of those has been like that? What barriers prevent you from implementing new strategies? If I was looking at analyzing it, I would maybe look at some of the key barriers and supports that are taking place with implementing. Some of the experiences we know as teachers, PD is oftentimes not the best use of some of our time, and some people find it not valuable. And so that's the kind of a good question to know what PD experiences have been most valuable and what do they look like and why somebody may feel like that. But overall, just again with the qualitative surveys, they're a powerful type of research tool to really be able to allow one to capture those authentic voices and uncover deep insight. It also it allows you to be complex in your theme, like explore that, but you also have to just be careful when it comes to analyzing and how you interpret the data meaningfully. Thank you, everyone, for listening.